up, nerd stars? Remember last week when I told you to watch Flash and Arrow? Well, I hope you didn't listen! Intro's coming! Couple things about last week's premiere of Arrow and the Flash. Sorry about the Flash. Okay, I joke, I keyed. But if I offend, I'm sorry. Please forgive. Look, the Flash really wasn't stellar last week. But that's okay. In fact, I read an article on io9.com about it entitled, "The Flash Season 2 premiere wasn't good. Don't worry about it." The title pretty much sums it up, right? Rob Bricken, who wrote the article, hypothesized that this episode intended to be simple, that they wanted to reestablish the basic building blocks of the show. What the Flash did last season, which we'll presumably try to recapture, is it escalated. We were introduced to more fantastical science and characters, until it culminated with a time-traveling, singularity-producing showdown between the Flash and Reverse Flash from the future who would snatch somebody's body using future tech. So the point is, don't fret, and just ignore the fact that Barry finally managed to free his pops from prison, who then abandoned him, because that's preposterous. Moving on to Arrow. As I said in the preview last week, this season of Arrow is going to take a lighter tone. Well, it literally took a lighter tone. Stephen Amell stopped speaking in his gravelly Batman voice. He doesn't use it at all anymore. Seriously, listen to him in any scene from season 3, then listen to him in this season. He went up like 3 octaves! Oh, and when I said that they would be introducing mysticism, I didn't think that they would literally refer to Damien Dark as mystical. A bit on the nose. Whatever. I still love the episode, and Diggs' new digs actually aren't bad. I'm very excited for what's in store this season, as it should be getting pretty wild. That was newsy. Back to you, Chauncey! Alright, done with that, let's get to the main event. The MCU! Again. Last week it was announced that there will be an Ant-Man sequel coming out in 2018 entitled Ant-Man and the Wasp, which really screwed with the lineup. Ant-Man 2 is now taking Captain Marvel's slot, who's being bounced to March of 2019. And because the MCU's Spider-Man now officially has a solo film coming out in July of 2017, Thor Ragnarok is pushed back to Black Panther's spot on November 3rd, 2017. And Black Panther has been moved to February of 2018. But the juiciest news revolves around the Inhumans, which has been pushed back to July of 2019. Now, there's some scuttlebutt. Told you we'd cover scuttlebutt. Release dates, scuttlebutt. Now there's some scuttlebutt that the Inhumans could be cancelled altogether. This isn't actually likely to happen, but the drama stems from a very volatile relationship between Marvel's movie and TV divisions. By all accounts, those in the Marvel Cinematic Universe are dismissive and resentful of the TV side. The film side has completely disregarded any and all events from the TV shows, while the shows, namely Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but also the Netflix series Daredevil and those to come, have not only acknowledged the events that take place in the films, but have structured their stories around them. When S.H.I.E.L.D. was disbanded in Captain America the Winter Soldier, it was rumored that was done as a big F.U. to the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That almost certainly isn't true, but the rumor that the TV side was actually kept in the dark about the disbanding of S.H.I.E.L.D. to mess with their writing, that seems to carry a little more veracity. The issue specifically with the Immortals is that they've already been brought into the TV universe with last season's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and are being explored in depth. The Immortals are basically the central focus of S.H.I.E.L.D. The problem is that the MCU hasn't acknowledged them at all. But if they're introduced 4 or 5 years before the film even comes out, the MCU may actually have to acknowledge the events of the TV shows. This then is compounded by the Netflix series leading up to The Defenders, which I have already speculated may be brought into the MCU in Infinity War. And this leads us to 3 unnamed movies that Marvel announced for 2020. I think these will be the first films of Phase 4. And as we've learned, when a movie is assigned a particular release date, it's absolutely subject to change, especially 5 years out. Because of this fluidity of these movies, even after they name the films, they should still be taken with a grain of salt. But I don't mind speculating for now, because you'll forget what I've guessed by the time they come out. I'm sure at least 2 of the films will be sequels to Phase 3 films, and it will probably depend on the success of those movies. But off the bat, I'm thinking a Doctor Strange sequel almost definitely, just because of the popularity of Benedict Cumberbatch. Then after that, maybe a Black Panther sequel or a 3rd Guardians movie. There are a couple less likely movies that I'm hoping for though. First and foremost, a standalone Hulk movie. I'm least confident in this prediction, but I truly hope it happens. For a few years now, there's been some scuttlebutt. Scuttlebutt? Scuttlebutt. That the Hulk might be launched into space, ultimately leading to the Planet Hulk storyline, or potentially even a Guardians crossover. While this is, again, unlikely, it has been in the ether for a while, so who knows? You never know! Another possibility is a Defenders movie. This, again, is dependent on the success of the Netflix series. But based on Daredevil's success, it's very possible that these characters will be brought to the big screen. And a 2020 release date should provide enough time for all 4 characters to be established. 3 of the 4 will be by the end of next year, with Jessica Jones coming out next month, and Luke Cage coming out next fall after a 2nd season of Daredevil in the spring. The only outlier is Iron Fist, but I imagine he'll be introduced in 2017, if not in Luke Cage or in Season 2 of Daredevil. The last possibility I'll share with you, and the one that I actually think is most likely, is a new Captain America series. Recently, the Russo brothers, directors of Captain America the Winter Soldier and the upcoming Civil War, said that the latter is the culmination of the Captain America trilogy. That being said, as Cap is a central figure in the MCU and Marvel Comics as a whole, I believe there will be a new storyline for the character in the future. But that's all I'll say for now. And that's all I'll say for today! You're probably gonna need some time to process this whirlwind of info, so I'll let you go. But subscribe to this channel before you take your nap. And after you wake up, feel free to comment on what you think of the MCU's future. Talk to you then! Adios, superloaders! I didn't see how hairy I was until I saw those images, though.
Oh yeah, very hairy.
That's on you, Chauncey! Damn it, Chauncey!